the thing. It starts with, who are you chasing? Like, who is it that you want as customers? And then you've got to figure out what that platform is that that customer likes. You don't have to use all 6 major social media platforms. You just need to use the one where your niche target customer hangs out the most. And you've got to figure out what your sales systems and follow-up systems are going to be, so that you don't miss out on opportunities because you're a one-man band and you're out fixing somebody else's hot water heater.
The following is brought to you by Thryv, the end-to-end client experience platform that helps you get the job, manage the job, and get credit.
Hey, this is Gordon Henry at Winning on Main Street, and this week you get to meet Melinda Emerson. Melinda is known as the SmallBizLady and is often called America's #1 small business expert. Her goal is to end small business failure. I love that. She is a renowned keynote speaker on small business development, social selling, and online marketing. So lots of great advice for you today. Melinda is the best-selling author of Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months. Now I believe in its 3rd updated edition. She blogs at succeedasyourownboss.com. She hosts the #SmallBizChat podcast. You've probably seen her on TV and in major newspapers or magazines. And you can find her on Twitter at SmallBizLady. Welcome, Melinda.
Thank you so much for having me, Gordon.
In Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months, you say launching a business means not only having a solid business idea, but also knowing the business of running a business. And you've talked about that, I know, on this show now and others. What do you mean, the business of running a business? And how do you tell small business people how to do that?
Well, the first thing I tell anyone who tells me they want to start a business is that they need to think about what they want and why they want it. So they really need to think about life plan first, because I don't want somebody to quit a soul-sapping job and then start a business that they didn't think through, that then feels like a noose around their neck. So I want people to think through life plan. The second thing I want them to do is think about their business and then evaluate their business idea based on what skills they have versus what skills they need. I'm a big fan of people going to work for a business like the one they want to start. I've heard of people buying into franchises and then a year later being like, I hate this, and it's because they didn't know what it was like to work in the franchise. They like the idea of running a bakery, but not actually running one. And then you've got to figure out the money. The money to start your business is going to come from your right or your left pocket. Because guess what? Banks do not loan money to start up businesses. So you've got to figure out how you're going to fund your startup, because it takes 12 to 18 months for a small business to break even, let alone replace your corporate salary. And then it's about the marketing. Then it's about figuring out, okay, who is your niche target customer? Who is going to pay you for this thing? And getting real specific, not just demographic information, but psychographic information. Who is this person? What do they care about? What are their fears? What are their aspirations? What inspires them? Where do they consume information? How do they get information? Is it NPR? Is it Fox News? What is it? You got to understand what makes this person tick, because then you can develop marketing messages that really connect with them, that they want to feel like you're a friend communicating to them. And then once you figure that out, you got to finish your marketing, your business plan, right? So you got your marketing plan. So that's like 1/3 of what you need for your business plan, but you do need a business plan. I can't believe how often people spend more time planning their vacation than like how they're going to support themselves and their family financially. It's like, no. You have to plan for success. It's not going to just happen to you. And then the last thing, I believe in people being side hustlers first. I believe that you should work both your full-time job and your new business side by side as long as you can, because in that first 18 months, you got to figure out who your paying customer really is. It might not be who you think it is. And so you want to learn on somebody else's dime as long as you possibly can.
Yeah, that's all fantastic advice. I want to peel back the onion a little bit on this marketing point. I know that's really your passion and sweet spot, marketing for small businesses. And marketing has become so complicated and so much to do. As you said, now there's Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and so many other social media popping up, as well as the traditional media still around. And if you're a small business person, and let's say you're in a service business, you're a plumber, you do heating and cooling, you're roofing, maybe you're a doctor, a dentist, or a lawyer, how do you have time to think about all of the marketing possibilities and actually execute them? Or maybe should you hire an agency? What's your thought on that?
Well, here's the thing. It starts with who are you chasing? Like, who is it that you want as customers? And then you've got to figure out what that platform is that that customer likes. You don't have to use all 6 major social media platforms. You just need to use the one where your niche target customer hangs out the most. Mm-hmm. So in some cases, if you're a service-based business targeting, residential folks or consumers, that's Facebook. That's Facebook all day, right? But you still have to make sure you have so you have to think about it in terms of the customer buyer journey, right? So you've got brand awareness is step 1. Then you've got consideration, and that's when somebody's looking at you alongside your competitors. And then you've got purchase. But if we go back to the consideration phase for a minute, if you're a professional service business, it's about time and response. So if somebody's got a hot water heater that has broken and they've got water in their basement, they're hiring the first plumber that answers the phone. So what you have to make sure as a business is that you have a way to collect these incoming calls. And you've got to figure out what your sales systems and follow-up systems are going to be so that you don't miss out on opportunities because you're a one-man band and you're out fixing somebody else's hot water heater. So you really have to make sure that you have services in place, whether it's a call center, whether you've got live chat on your website. What are you doing to capture these incoming leads? Because the speed to response is the name of the game in a service business.
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of what you're talking about there is very tactical in terms of like what I think of as lead generation. You're finding a good prospect and you're generating an inbound lead that you can respond to so you can get a job. What about branding? This idea of, I need a brand, I need something bigger to describe me or give confidence that I can do a good job. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think branding is really important. You brand a business and you market a product, right? So you want to make sure that you're considered a business and not just somebody out here selling plumbing services, right? Mm-hmm. So you do want a brand. That's why you want a van that's wrapped with your logo, or, you want to think about what your website looks like. And if you're a retail business or a more localized business, you want to make sure that you've got a website that looks good from a mobile device, because 24% of us in America now operate our whole life from a phone. So you've got to make sure that you've got click to call buttons, that you've got your hours, that you've got a way for somebody who's trying to find a plumber to reach you right from your website, right from their mobile device. And so you've got to make sure your website's updated and you've got to make sure it's integrated with tools. But the other thing too is you've got to invest in paid ads. Like if you are a professional service business and your business operates within a 20-mile radius of where you live, you've got to make sure that you can get found. So certainly you want to start with make sure your business is registered in Google My Business, right? So that's free. But then after that, you've got to consider, are you going to do mobile ads? Are you going to do Google search ads through Google? And that's probably something you need to hire somebody to do for you. If that's not what you do, it's a great way to lose money out here testing a bunch of paid ads. So you do want to find another small business like you, perhaps, or maybe a larger company that can do an affordable job for you to run ads. And so you're going to have to figure out on a monthly basis how much money you can put towards ads. But you also need to have a content game too. You can't just put ads out here and have a website up. Believe it or not, I tell people all the time, dirty job businesses, people love to watch those videos on YouTube. Absolutely love it. Years ago, I had a roofer tell me nobody wants to see what we do. And I found a YouTube channel of some roofers in Miami that had bat stories of finding bats in people's, attics and all this stuff. And I'm like, they had a huge business because they were showing people what they do. So service businesses cannot be afraid of content, and video is the future of marketing. So you got to figure out how to have some video involved in your marketing as well.
Yeah, really good points. You talk in your book about having a business plan, and you seem to think it's pretty important to have a business plan.
Oh, yeah.
You know, some people think of a business plan as this dusty tome that sits on a shelf that nobody ever looks at after it's
It's a
written.
historical document, right?
Yes,
No.
right. So it's not that.
No, you first of all, it is not this 40-page manifesto, right? I mean, literally, it could be 10 good pages that's going to describe what business you're in, who your competitors are, what your value proposition is, how you're going to attract customers, and what your follow-up and delivery systems are going to be once you get a customer. Once the phone rings, what happens next? You've really got to figure out how you're going to get the phone ring. What are you going to do when the phone rings? And what are you charging for it? And are you earning a profit with every sale? And those are the things really that you got to think through. What are all of your costs? A lot of times, small business owners in the early days, especially, they work like an indentured servant to their own business. They don't even calculate what their time is worth to do the plumbing, right? So you got to make sure that you're covering your hard costs and your general and administrative costs, things like marketing, administrative, legal, all of the stuff that you have to have, but you can't bill for. You have to have a percentage of all of that built into your costing model. And so you've got to make sure that you understand how the money works in your business. Otherwise, you could easily end up with a glorified hobby.
Exactly right. You don't end up with a business, you end up with a job. Yeah. All right, this is great. We're going to go to a quick 30-second break, and we'll be back with more from Melinda, the Small Biz Lady.
This episode of Winning on Main Street is brought to you by Thryv, the end-to-end client experience platform that includes everything small business owners need to meet their customers' expectations. Thryv's award-winning and fully mobile interface delivers technology previously reserved for big business to the fingertips of small business owners nationwide. Thryv's built specifically for small business, but there's nothing small about what it can do. Thryv handles your entire customer experience, helping business owners reach more customers, stay organized, get paid faster, and generate online reviews, all from a single device or screen. To learn more about Thryv, visit winningonmainstreet.com and click on Get a Demo. When it comes to software to run your business, there's no comparison. Check out Thryv today.
And we're back with Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady, and we're going to talk about some of the other aspects of running a business besides just the kind of nitty-gritty nuts and bolts. And one of the things I wanted to ask you is about, you talk about some of these bigger ideas: courage, persistence, confidence, skills, work ethic, focus. You seem to care a lot about who the person is. Is the point that not everybody's cut out to be an entrepreneur?
Oh, absolutely. That's the point. I mean, we are a rare breed, right? We're unhireable. So you really have to recognize, are you a visionary? Do you have that killer sales instinct, or do you have a partner that has that? Are you willing to reach out to your customers and build relationships? Because people do business with people that they like, know, and trust. But listen, everybody can smell fear and desperation too. So confidence is 90% of it. And I know that there's theories about fake it till you make it. You got to fake it a little bit. You actually need to be a licensed plumber. Don't come into my house pretending to be a plumber if you're not one, right? But I do want you to know that you are selling yourself as much as you're selling your business. So you have to think about that. You have to show up in a uniform, looking like the person they're supposed to talk to. You need to put those little covers over your shoes so you're not walking through people's houses. You just need to be professional, because professional goes a long way, because there's so many people that are unreliable, inconsistent. And so you want to make sure that the brand that you put out there, showing up on time, is part of your brand. how you look when you get there. Is your uniform nice and clean, or does it look like you worked 3 weeks in it? All of that stuff is really, really important when you think about how you present yourself as a business owner.
Yeah, excellent point. So we were talking before about technology, and our company Thryv, we make a CRM for small businesses that's really designed to help them track all of their customer communications, from the first appointment to the back and forth in the inbox, to the estimates and invoices, and ultimately to the payments. Everybody likes to get paid. So my question to you is, when you think about the technology that a small business person today needs to run their business, what are your recommendations?
Well, without question, you got to have a website. You have to have an email marketing program so that you can send your marketing automations, which is how you do a lot of sales. And you do need to have a CRM system, because you want to be able to track who your customers are, but you also want to be able to track the lifetime value of a customer, which is how much money they've spent with you over time. And the reason why this is important is because an existing customer is 60 to 70% more likely to do business with you versus a new lead is 5 to 20%. So you have to have a way to communicate and engage your customers, people who have already paid you, because they are the best possibility for you to increase your revenue. I actually heard a statistic just yesterday that anybody on your email list is worth $1. A paid customer on your email list is worth at least $15. So that means if you got a CRM, multiply how many customers are in there times 15, and then start marketing to them and love on them and create a customer loyalty program for them. And you could have customers for life if you do it the right way.
Yeah, that's such an important point. I think we all as consumers have bought things from either businesses or service businesses, and you never hear from them again. And maybe you have a need in the future and you sort of like, who's that guy I bought that thing from? And you don't even remember, right?
Exactly. And especially if you had an emergency situation where you called a plumber or HVAC guy or whatever, you don't remember, unless they give you a magnet to put on the refrigerator. If they were smart, they would do that. But
100%.
You don't have a way to stay in touch with people. And it's foolish for somebody to let somebody give you $100 and you walk out the door and never hear from them. I mean, that's just madness.
Right. So you say your goal is to end small business failure. That's like your big mantra. And
yes.
and I think you've said at the end of the day, small businesses fail because people fail to plan, right? Yeah. So how are you doing on this journey of yours to end small business failure? Have you succeeded at that yet?
Oh no, there's plenty of work for me. If I succeed at it, then I'm going to put myself out of business. And Lord I hope I do something. But a lot of times it's just about helping people focus on who is your customer. You also have to be fiscally disciplined. You have to use a budget. If you don't manage your household with a budget, you're not going to use one in your business. And that's a mistake. You also need to use your accountant as a business advisor. Don't call an accountant just at tax time. That means you have a tax preparer. You don't have an accountant. You want to make sure that you know that you're making business decisions based on up-to-date financial information. And again, you got to love on those existing customers. That's one of the biggest mistakes that I see. And then the other one is people start using social media and they prematurely start pitching people before they've taken the time to build a relationship. Those are the biggest things that I see people mess up all the time. And it's like, no, please stop doing that. I want you to build a brand that people know and that people know what to expect from you. That's the hallmark of a brand. Brand is what people say about you when you're not there. So that's why you concentrate on what does your brand say? What is your unboxing experience like? What do your receipts look like? Are they written on scribbled paper? Do they look professional? Like all these things are important because people are evaluating you based upon that.
Yeah. So Melinda, we just have a few minutes left. I wanted to ask you if folks are listening to you or reading your writings, do you coach individual businesses? Are you consulting to individual businesses still? And if they wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
I do coach individual businesses. I do also have an online school called SmallBizLadyUniversity.com. So if you want to work on how to sell and market online or email marketing or social media selling, I got a course for that, and it's not very expensive. So hopefully people can go and check that out. But listen, I am the Small Biz Lady on any platform you want to go look at, except for LinkedIn. LinkedIn, they make me use my government name, which is Melinda Emerson. But
Okay.
connect with me, go check out our blog, Succeed as Your Own Boss, our podcast. I have over 5,000 articles on my blog about how to start and grow a successful business. So just go to my search bar and type something, you'll find it.
That's great. And my last question, you seem so busy. You're an institution almost with all these different places you show up. Do you have any free time in your life? And if so, what do you do for fun?
Oh my gosh, let me tell you something. I do have a life. I have a son who's 15. I also have a very sweet boyfriend. And I love to cook and eat good food, ethnic food at great restaurants. I'm a total foodie, and I'm an HGTV nut. I love the Property Brothers. I want to buy a house just to see if I could get them to come to Philly and decorate it for me.
I love it. I love it. Well, Melinda, thank you so much for stopping by today. This has been fantastic. And everybody, if you're listening and want to learn about these courses, find Melinda at Small Biz Lady, either on her blog, on her podcast, or any of these social media places. Thanks again for stopping by, Melinda.
Thank you, Gordon, for having me.
Well, thank you. And it was great to have you on the show. And if you listening out there enjoyed this podcast, please tell a friend or colleague to subscribe. And please leave us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. Until next time, make it a great week.